Thanks for staying with us. So the Nigeria Labour Congress, NLC, will today begin a two-day warning strike after shunning a meeting with the federal government over the increasing hardship and suffering across the country caused by the removal of subsidy. Meanwhile, the National Union of Air Transport Employees, NUATE, the Association of Nigeria Aviation Professionals, NAAP, the National Association of Aircraft Pilots and Engineers, NAAPE, and the National Union of Banks, Insurance and Financial Institutions have expressed their readiness to join NLC on this two-day strike. Now, what are your own thoughts on this? Do you agree with NLC? Do you think they should go ahead on this strike, or do you think it should be put aside and continue dialogue with the federal government? You can call us on the numbers on your screen, 081-076-41679, 0902-4163440. You can also tweet to us at TVC Connect. Please hashtag your VTVC so we can read your tweet. All right, so for those of us following this story, I want to just list out the issues that the NLC is still asking from the federal government, according to the reports I have here. So the federal government had the issues are number one is the implementation of the palliative, if you recall, of the palliatives that the federal government had offered, the implementation of the palliatives, the wage award, tax exemptions and allowances to public service, modalities for the 70 billion naira SMEs, and the RTEN crisis, amongst others. So those are the key issues NLC is still holding on to. The federal government at the meeting on Monday had said specifically that they've said 2 weeks timeline. They're asking for 2 weeks timeline to sort out the wage bill, the wage award, the tax exemption and allowances to public sector, to cushion effects and anguish that they are going through. And they've asked for 2 weeks to handle that. They've also said that they're going to need, after that 2 weeks, they will then continue the modalities to assessing the intervention fund that was recently announced by the palliatives for micro, small, medium enterprises. So according to the federal government, give us 2 weeks. We'll sort out all these pending issues of taxes, wage reforms, and all that. But NLC completely boycotted the meeting yesterday. TUC was there, and the federal government and the Minister of Labour was also there. So what are your thoughts on this? Now, some are saying, and some are suggesting, that it's rather convenient for this strike to be called on a week where the tribunal will be given a judgment concerning the presidential elections declared by INEC. However, others are saying it's not related. It's just Labour doing what Labour should be doing. What are your thoughts? Let us hear your views. Lily, let me come to you. What are your own thoughts? Tokwe, would you like to start on this matter? Do you agree that Labour should go ahead? It seems like they're the only ones. And now the banks and aviation are expressing their readiness to join. So this is much more than we think.
So the government responds to strike. That's it. The government responds to protest. The government has a lot on their hand. I'm not saying that the government is not trying to do their best, but I'm saying the timeline and the expectations of the labor, that's people who work within the Nigerian system, who run the system, is that we should be put in the forefront of any decision you are making. And if you haven't done it, and we have asked over and over again, and you have not officially come to declare what you want to do for labor, then we'll go on strike. And based on the past history of the way Nigerian system works, going on strike gets issues on the front burner, and once it's on the front burner, we discuss it. I feel bad that we have to get to this point where we are going on strike. I feel bad that aviation and banks are saying they're going to join, because seriously, that's going to shut down the entire economy, and we shouldn't get to this point, but they've been threatening since. And while I don't agree with the fact that the NLC walked out, there was a boycott of the meeting that they should have been, at least so that you would hear what they are saying. The government should have been more proactive with dealing with this situation. That's my...
Mariam, your thoughts?
Okay, so we know that the demands of the NLC, I mean, to a very large extent, is valid, and that's because they're speaking the minds of the people. But from listening to the conversation, it seems that we have a federal government that is willing to work with NLC to resolve the issues. Maybe to NLC, they need a timeline, a shorter timeline to be able to do that, or they do not think that the government is responding as quickly as they need to. And I've said this before, it just seems that any little disagreement, we just go on the streets and we'll shut down the economy and we'll... As important as it is to protest and insist on, meeting the demands of the people, can we also look at it vis-a-vis the lives and livelihoods that we're shutting down? If aviation goes on strike, the banks, we are struggling already. If we can talk about it, if we can sit at the table and address it, why do we have to go down this route? Is what I don't understand. If we're saying that we spoke to the federal government, they're insisting on not speaking with us, they're insisting on not listening to our demands, I can understand. But I hear the federal government say, I was waiting at the meeting. I did not get an official statement saying that we're going on strike. Yes, they didn't get that from the NLC. As of the time of their meeting, they had just heard, from briefings that they normally get from different sectors, and they heard that there might be, but they have not received the official statement from NLC saying that they'll go on strike. So what is the hurry in using only this method right now? Why is discussing it not important? Why is doing it in such a way that is not too hard on Nigerian people? Why is that option not appealing to the NLC? That's what I just need to understand.
Interesting.
They said the minister had... Vanguard carried that one of the reasons the NLC didn't show up for the meeting was there was an alleged outburst by the minister before the meeting, and he made he made the Labour leaders angry. He made one of the Labour leaders angry. And I remember, like, a few years back with Dr. Chris Ngige, that there was a case of tone of voice, being rude to them. NLC, we don't want an ego clash. Like, Nigerians are already suffering. We don't want your ego clashing with the ego of the minister. We don't want quarrel based on the fact that the way we felt. Can we just deal with the issues? Because if we shut down the economy, the people you are fighting for that live on a daily meal cannot afford to eat. If the banks close down, somebody's food comes from the banks the staff buying food from them. It's the money they make that day that they are able to feed their family. So while I understand that the government responds to strike, let strike truly be our last resort, not based on the ego. The way they spoke to me, I will not attend that meeting. Do you know who we are? We are NLC. We can ground the entire country to a halt if you don't answer us. Yes, we know, please, but let that not be what you do, based on ego or based on the fact that you feel like you're not being answered appropriately.
Don't you think the minister should be humble?
Yeah, but TUC was there, so I mean,
yes,
like
in his own when he was describing it, so it looks like maybe in his own explanation, he's saying that they misunderstood him. He did not think that he came across as being what's the word now? Being arrogant to him. So they decided, they read it that way. So it's not...
Conveniently.
Yeah, well, I don't know about conveniently. The thing is, you can talk about it. You can sit at the table and talk about it. To say, I don't like the words he used on TV. Tell him off when you sit at the table with him and say, we're representing Nigerians here and it is important. And then let's hear him say, I don't care who you're representing. I don't care what your demands are. Federal government is not going to listen to you. That is not the conversation we're hearing.
You know, YK, I was watching, I mean, this is an old series. Many Nigerians have probably watched it already. But House of Cards, you know, when you see how politics is being played, you and I can be on different levels. You can hate me, but when it comes to the people, the American people you put your personalities completely aside. We focus on the issues. So it's not about how you talk to me. It's not about how humble you are. It's about what are you saying? What's your intention? If the intention is really about the people, then we now begin to have a conversation. But leave personal issues aside. That is now us reading or taking reports. Because depends on how these days now I choose not to even believe papers anymore. Because I have read several papers, many and has been framed and twisted in different ways. So I'm not even believing one side of the story. But what are your own thoughts on the convenience of having a strike on the same week that the tribunal is about to answer or to declare the verdict of the presidential election that is highly controversial? What do you think is coincidental or do you think it's different?
Have you looked at it that if there is a strike, then there can be riots if they don't like the outcome of the verdict?
Or there might be riots.
But
everybody is at home.
If they're at work.
That's why they're work. They can't go for riots. But if they're at home, they can definitely do riots.
So no.
Okay.
You cannot converge because you are all at home.
Or they will have time to converge. YK.
No, how will they converge now? They're all in their houses now.
I don't like politics. People just don't know.
Just let's face the issue.
So So I think what's worrying us, and I think I have a call now, is the fact that NLC also, to some people, one of the parties in contention is Labour.
They are partisan.
And they seem to be partisan. So it's almost very suspicious. Where, okay, now you're coming out to do what you want there to be some kind of unrest to maybe aggravate the society at this point in case Wednesday doesn't go as we want. You know, there are different ways you can read meanings to this, because if you are indeed worried about the Nigerian people, you say, let this tribunal calm down. After they're done, let us come back to our labor matter. This thing they promised us, because federal government is saying, give me 2 weeks. This wage they're asking for, I will clear it. The taxes they're asking for, we will clear it. Everything you said, we'll clear it. All we need is 2 weeks. What's the hurry, as Mariam said?
The hurry is the fact that hunger is in town. For many people, the salary is not taking them home. You collect salary, and your salary week, the salary is finished. So, and that's the reality of many people for the past 3 months, and they are waiting for, this is 100 days into office. Subsidy was gone on the day it took the oath. It was immediately that the shock affected. So they've been 100 days of Nigerians waiting of the Labour, waiting to hear how the president is going to help them deal with the challenges that they are facing. And the first way would have been to put something small on all salaries, like something small. Even private businesses are finding a way to do it.
But this is, Mariah just read out an article that said that the president is worried about the civil service wage. So he's now thinking, if he puts something small, he cannot do the...
Infrastructure. And
you see, for infrastructure, I think that food is more important than infrastructure.
You need life.
Yeah, but you see, Waike,
so I like where Waike was even going with this, because, I mean, I understand Labour is asking...
I'm so sorry. Moses has been holding for a while. Good morning, Moses. I'll come back to you, Mariam. Thanks for calling. You're live. Go ahead.
My God. In respect of this strike, I don't want to preempt anybody, but what I see, there's a little element of politics in what is happening. Because let's look at it this way. I quite agree things are hard. But what is the way forward? Is the strike. The one strike is solution. Where, if that is a solution to the Labour Congress president, the time into tomorrow is the verdict. And you can know the extent of Nigeria as of now. Everybody is angry. Not the fault of government, but how many people are aware that the present government is not the cause of our problem? Because I've asked people so many people, if you say don't remove subsidy, what is the way forward? We have a solution. So please, you, the press, you can help us to educate the labor man properly. Let us remove sentiment. Let us remove politics from whatever we are doing, so that we can go forward, or that we remain where we are. Because the issue of subsidy removal and the palliative. Subsidy removal has started from the previous government. Since then, the Labour Congress found didn't fit to discover the previous government. But if we remove subsidy, what are the things that we have said in March? What are the palliatives? No decision was reached. Nothing was discussed. But it's becoming aggressive like ASO. I just want people to educate them properly, because you see, we have no other country apart from Nigeria. If we decide Nigeria because of tribe or religion or one thing or the other, we all suffer here too.
Yeah. Thank you very much, Moses. Yes, then come.
I love what you just said.
Yeah.
We don't have any other country. This is our only country.
So I was just saying, I like where Waike went with that conversation, in that we had read in the papers that the president has said we need to find a different way to sort of work on the wage bill for civil service. It's quite huge, that to the point that it scares him. So if we're thinking of, let's say, raising wages, and we have an issue of ghost workers or different things, you know, so when we raise the wages, could it be, like in the thinking, like, is it not better to deal with issues where we're sure that we're not wasting resources? Monies that go out, or monies that will be borrowed for the civil service is not ending up in the hands of unscrupulous people, you know. So these may be one of the things that is holding on, slowing down the process. There are things, there's a due process. There are things we need to consider before we go ahead and give, and raise the wage bill. If we have a conversation now with the NLC saying, we have discussed with the government, and these are the things that they have put in place, although we don't agree with this and this. What I'm reading here is saying that the NLC doesn't want to have a conversation with the minister because when he came on board, he gave them a certain body language or the words that he used, he did not like it. The minister is saying, see, when I came out, I was just giving from my own point of view, from our own from the federal government's point of view, what we have done so far, and some of the demands that they've been asking for, that they have asked, we have already started working on it. So it looks like the wage is the main thing right now. But if you're already working with the government who is working towards resolving the issues, why do you not just sit down with them to see how you can resolve this issue? We do not want to further impoverish Nigeria in the name of let's just increase wages. If there are factors to be looked at before that happens, why wouldn't NLC want to be a part of, looking at that as well?
Let me take this call. It's been holding for a minute. Good morning. Thanks for calling.
Yeah, good morning, lady.
Morning.
Yeah. Auntie Ajaero.
Yes.
I totally disagree with Dr. this morning.
Okay.
My view is this. I don't know why Nigeria is like this. I don't know. In how many decades have leaders continue, we are going to strike, we are going to strike. Has it solved our problem in this place, right? The answer is no. Can we continue to do the same thing, the same way I expect different results? The answer is no. This government is not the government that remove the subsidy. The subsidy that removed the previous government. Where is the labor? Did they travel then? The answer is no. Now this government, 100 days that Tokwe has mentioned, have they done something? The answer is yes. The government has been working. They have started working on it. They promised that December is what we started. Maybe we started distributing petrol in that particular refinery. The palliatives are there. I called the previous time then, maybe like 3 or 4 weeks ago. Our government should be no responsible. Where are 2 billion? The grains, the rice. Where are the palliatives and the federal government have been distributed to the state and the local government? Where are they? The shouldn't have been their own. Where state government is doing their own. Some people yesterday, you opened the live trade. You still use the price. What about the Ondo state governor or 2 state governors? None of them, what are they doing? Use your platform, Ajaero. Use your platform and tell our governor. Our local government, what are they doing? You stop playing politics. Nigeria belongs to every one of us. Yesterday, UK said Peter will not guarantee us to enter UK again.
Thank you very much, UK. Thank you for your view. Actually, I was going to go there because it's one thing for Labour to say, oh, increase minimum wage to this. I remember the last time they increased it. Some states didn't even pay for years because they couldn't afford it. It's one thing for Labour to scream, get the minister say, okay, approved. That's just, so your own mind, you've satisfied your ego that, yes, we've got an approval. But guess what? Yeah. Many people are still going to be paid because many of the states are not paying it. Federal government might change their own wages, but the states, people, the real people, not the federal government, the real people who need this review may not get it based on what the states are earning. Therefore, it goes back to we need to call again. Remember, there was supposed to be a meeting with the governors to discuss this review. That, okay, what can you afford? Let us come together. We are yet to see the outcome of that meeting. We don't know exactly where it is as regards to the governors. That's the one hand. So based on what Mariam is saying is, no matter how difficult things go, we must never stop having a conversation.
We
talking,
I think we all...
exploring diplomatic options on this matter.
Premature,
They've been warning since, so why is strike premature when they had warned?
This conversation.
I have to go on a break, sorry.
Federal government, with this administration, in how many days, 100 days, I think a strike at this point is premature for this particular issue.
I mean, I'd like to also find out, let's discuss the fact that even the banks are getting involved. I was reading from the Deputy General Secretary of the NUBFI, that's Mr. Abodrin Olushedam, was saying that they are reiterating their commitment to NLC, and according to them, these are I'm trying to get this is the National Union of Banks, Insurance, Financial Institutions, Employees. They said that they were citing the need to draw government's attention to the dire economic situations faced by Nigerians. When the banks ever care about how the economic situation of Nigeria, I don't know how, when bankers, employees became quite concerned about us. Because I remember an article I read about a week or two ago about the fact that there was an impending investigation on banks, on some kind of corruption. I'll get the article in a moment. But there was an ongoing investigation. Yes, that the bank MDs were asked not to leave the country because they were being investigated. So you keep thinking of the political undertones, because why would the banking, the union, then agree with Labour to go? And I'm wondering, because you're worried about the economic realities of Nigerians, when the bank start getting worried about us? So
I'm tagged the person that is supporting NLC and strike, but that's actually not that's not the only view I have. I actually believe that the NLC had good intentions. There might be a bit of politicizing or drama behind the scene. There's a bit of ego behind the scenes, but I feel that somebody needs to speak on behalf of the Nigerian labor force to ask the government to speak up and speed up palliatives getting to Nigerians. I believe strongly that should be done. How they go about doing it, going on strike, whether they are calling for protest, all of that we might not always agree with, but we all agree that Nigerians are feeling the pinch of subsidy removal and we want the government to address it. The current Labour Minister was formerly the governor in Plateau State, and he also struggled with paying salaries to the state's civil service. Oyo State's governor has been struggling. He was very vocal, and I love his perspective. And this is what I want to hear. He said that the revenue being generated in Oyo State is 10 billion. He said the salary that they are paying to civil service is 7.2 billion. And expectations are that there should be fund for other parts of the states. You have health, you have infrastructure that must be deployed. You have interventions by the states. Where would they be able to do that when 72% of your revenue is going into paying salary of civil service? Now, when that confronts the governor, or you have the revenue is not even enough to cover salary, it is not to say we will not increase it. It is to say, Labour, work with me to see how we can increase our income. Work with me to see how we can increase productivity. You cannot fold your hands when you face challenges. You are the governor. You became that governor because you believe you can solve the problems of the states. So you cannot say we're not generating enough money, so let's deal with what we have. No. How do we increase our income? That's what I want to hear from governors. So the idea of saying governors, I don't have enough money, because of that, we should not ask for more money is not our headache. It's not our headache.
Well, there is a school of thought that also believes that NLC should leave the federal government alone for now and face state governors, because the state governors are actually responsible for us. Yes.
I think it comes from the head now. They are facing the head. So if the body language changes from the presidency, everybody would comply.
Not necessarily. Because
what about the head of the states? We are talking about
they have state chapters. Yes, they all have state chapters.
Oh, okay.
Interestingly, I was reading an article that said that the meetings where palliatives were being agreed, the NLC was involved at the federal level, but they were not involved in the state level. So the issues we have, the thorny issues where palliatives had come, we're not getting it, so what's going on? NLC said, I have to be part of it. So you're right in the sense that we have, at all levels, the real work is at the state levels. Each of the states must therefore hold, the NLC in each state chapter must hold the governors responsible for whatever palliative that we've agreed and how to ensure that it gets to the people. So shutting down the whole nation because of it is therefore premature. And I keep going back to what Miriam said. If this federal government said, we are not talking, because we've seen grandstanding in this country, where Labour said, there's not to do your worst. We have seen it. But this government is not saying that. They're saying, let's keep talking. What, Monday? Okay, give me 2 weeks. After 2 weeks, we will be the one to shout, listen, neighbor, you asked for 2 weeks, they're giving you 2 weeks. Federal government, this is wrong. You know, we'll make noise about it. But this government is listening, so why, therefore, is Labour insisting? So that's why you guys are not talking about the political undertones. Do you think there are political undertones, or you don't think there are?
There's politics everywhere now. There's politics everywhere. And that's one of the challenges, the grouse I have with the Labour Congress, because once you become partisan, whatever you say, your good work will be spoken ill of, because you already took a stand.
Yeah.
Once you take a stand, everything will be colored it's like you have already touched blood. Everything you touch else will be colored. So that's the challenge with NLC.
I'm told we have Sharon Jasso, our TVC news correspondent.
Let's hear what's going on the streets.
She's on the streets of Lagos telling us what's going on with the strike. Good morning, Sharon. Are you there? Hello, Sharon. Hello, Sharon. Are you there? Hello, Sharon. Okay, I think we're having some connection issues.
Yeah, can I read some messages?
Please go ahead, Mike.
Yes. Felicia Sheyi says, increase in wages will only result in increase in cost of goods. The government and NLC should work together for a lasting solution to the issues at hand. My opinion.
Mike, let me talk about that for a second, because I think we've had several people come on this table and told us exactly the same thing. If you like, give us 200,000 naira per, it's not going to make any difference, because everything will be increased across board. What we need are the palliatives. The transportation is crucial. Both from federal to state government, we need that done. Palliatives of supporting, there has to be some kind of social welfare, that people can go to the hospitals, get discounted payment. That's what people need. That increment is important, but really, as Nigerians, the Nigerians that we are, the bus driver will increase, the bullet seller will increase, the corn person will increase, the gari seller, everybody will react. So your 200,000 naira even gets is not going to be enough. So it's those social welfare act there that we need government to do, and that's what Labour should be fighting for.
Yeah, you're right. If we're to increase wage across board, which I am for. Absolutely. As if we can afford it. Important. But the structure, the way the system is right now, first of all, those are the factors I was talking about. We have talked about, if I mentioned ghost workers, but we've also talked about states that even the previous wage increase, they have not been able to implement. Can we also discuss why they have been unable to implement that? Can we discuss what they need to do better for internally generated revenue? You know, those are things. To just pour money, sometimes you just pour money into a problem does not solve the problem, but even further exacerbates it. So I just feel that NLC can do much more than, what they say, low-hanging fruit, which is we fight them, we go on strike, we protest. Let's sit down, be part of planning and conversation and the way that it affects the grassroots.
That's where it suggests the ego tripping. So it's not about really helping Nigerians. It's about we're going to show them. Because if it's about the Nigerian people, those governors that have not even increased that have not reviewed the wage.
Why are we not striking?
Why are we not striking on them? Why are we not ensuring that they've reviewed the salaries based on the even previous wages? Many states are still not paying it. There are people their states are still dependent 100% on federal government. Why is Labour not on their case? So this sounds more like an ego tripping for me. And that's why I like what TUC said. TUC was like, listen, I was at the meeting, unless I was not at that meeting. Because I was at that meeting, I've seen the body language of the minister. I understand what they've said. And because of that, we're not joining the strike. So...
Case closed.
Case closed. Okay. Let's take a few comments and then we move.
For me, I want Nigeria to work. Yes. It is important. I don't have any other place to go. This is where I will live and I will die. I'm not going anywhere else. So, God.
Let me Good morning, Tony. Okay. Hello, I have a caller. Good morning. Hello, are you there? You're live. Thanks for calling.
Yeah, my name is Tony.
Good morning, sir. Go ahead, please.
Yeah, I'm calling from Abuja.
Go ahead, please.
Yeah, please, what people are discussing is very, very important. And I like the way people are trashing it. The issue about labor and the federal government is that the federal government, since the president declared the subsidy removal, the president did not put anything in place for the ordinary citizens. I do not like the way they are putting it as if the president, the Labour is just trying to put the federal government on a tightrope. The planned protest has already been said before the appeal tribunal declared tomorrow, being 6th of December, as the date of judgment. Please, they should try and do something so that the common man, because if you are giving palliative, Nobody knows where it goes to. That's just my little contribution.
Thank you so much, sir. Thank you very much. Any more comments before we run off?
Yes, we have.
Oh, I have to go on a break, but I think we can wrap up on this. I'm not sure there's anything else to discuss. But,
Comments.
we're hoping we couldn't get Sharon. We're having some connection issues. It would have been nice to get her. Maybe when we come back, we'll try to get her. If not, I think when we come back, we'll try to talk to Sharon. Stay with us. We'll be right back.
Okay.
Stay tuned. Your View will be right back.